Good morning. I'm Sam Newey from Community ReAwards team, and today I am interviewing Piers McLeish from the Joshua Tree. I was lucky enough to announce or introduce Piers in the awards for our 2021 awards in the Outstanding Leadership Award. Good morning, Piers.
Hi there, Sam. How are you doing?
Good, thank you. Piers has been involved in the Joshua Tree, and there's lots been going on behind the scenes during lockdown. So I'm just going to give Piers a couple of minutes to give us a little bit of an update as to where you're up to with the Joshua Tree, what's happening, and how you're going.
Yeah, well, I suppose I've been lucky enough to be helping and working with the team over the last 2 years. It's when I took on the role or took on the challenge, I didn't really think what the next 2 years would hold. If I'd known what was going to happen, I might have been thinking twice. But actually, no, it's ended up being an incredibly satisfying and a very rewarding and amazing experience, and it's been absolutely wonderful to have the nomination from the team. The big thing is, for people who don't know, the Joshua Tree as a charity has been around for 15 years or so. It started off by Lynn and Di Hill, and in the early 2000s. And one of the big things that the charity has been doing ever since it was incepted is fundraising for a support centre for a building. And I was lucky enough to take on that project when I joined the Board of Trustees in 2018. And the fantastic thing is that we actually have managed to get that project finished. The timing was incredible, really. We broke ground in 2019, but managed to finish the main contract. The main contractors handed over the building to us 3 weeks before lockdown hit last March. So the team moved in. We moved out of our rented office space in Northwich. Very excitedly moved in for 3 weeks, and then of course we had to move out again. But in some ways, the silver lining with it all is that over the last year, while we haven't been able to support families or invite families into the centre, there was a lot more work that actually needed to be done. Once the building was handed over, there was still the refurbishment, the fit out inside and out, the landscaping. And actually we've been able to, in some ways, get that done, not more easily, but actually it has been possible to get it done to the point where I can now say that the building is completely ready and finished. And we're so excited that, hopefully in the months to come, we'll start to welcome families into the centre. And we really just want to get the word out now because it's incredibly exciting. The building is amazing. It's a fantastic asset and a great community centre, really, that we should be able to use for our families, for our beneficiaries. But we're looking for volunteers. We're looking for anyone who would like to support us in any way they can. To also relaunch, I suppose. And once we get the opportunity, when we come out of this lockdown, and off we go. So yeah, it's a very exciting time.
It sounds very exciting, and it's in a great location, isn't it? It's got beautiful, surroundings and grounds.
The views are incredible. Yeah, absolutely. Just in the countryside, just in Sandy Way.
Yeah, and what have you done, Piers? How have you supported your families, obviously, during the lockdown with not being able to have?
Yeah. Well, it's been tough, like everyone else. We've had to learn how to effectively go online. And we've been able to, I suppose, we'll keep up the majority of what we do, we've been able to turn into some kind of online experience. All our services have been delivered in a very bespoke way anyway. So we tailor what we do to every individual child and all the members of their family to what they need. And so that hasn't really changed. And we just try and do that through whatever channels we can, be it telephone, text, Zooms, online sessions, and different things that we organise in different ways. So we've been able to keep up regular sessions and workshops of different types. We've had workshops around nutrition for the children, art workshops and sessions, and singing sessions and other stuff like that. So, but yes, we've been able to keep up a good level of support, I think, albeit somewhat stymied by the situation that we've been going through. But it's been again another challenging time, but something I think the team have done incredibly well to pull together and come through it and do the very best we can.
Yeah, and I think the key thing is the connection, isn't it? It's keeping that connection there, that families know that there's still somebody there
absolutely. Yeah.
Talk to or to.
We've done other things, whether it be through online channels, social media, to try and keep our name out there. That's the big challenge, though. We really need to promote ourselves as much as we possibly can for the northwest of England, the north of Wales, where we operate. We were very lucky enough to be highlighted on the Children in Need fundraising program in November, which was wonderful. We had an incredible family that was highlighted there. And so that's helped a bit. But anything like this, anything that we can, that helps us to put our name out there is a great benefit to us.
Yeah, brilliant. And how would people? You mentioned before that you'd be looking for volunteers. You'd be obviously looking for people to get involved, presumably with your fundraising, coming up with great ideas or ways of being able to get involved. Once you're able to relaunch it, how would they get in touch with you for that? I mean, we'll pop a little link in anyway.
Of course, yeah. I mean, the best thing to do, I guess, is go to our website, so thejoshuatree.org.uk, where there's links to get in touch, to contact us. There's a phone number there as well. So, but of course, the phone isn't always particularly well manned at the moment, not being in the office as much. So I think the websites and being online is the best way to get started. And we've got a volunteer coordinator called Kate Deacon, who's fantastic, joined us again just before lockdown, and she's keen as mustard to get as many people and to grow that group of volunteers as much as we can. So,
brilliant. And what sort of volunteering roles are there, Piers? Sometimes people think, they might have a bit of time, or it's really connected to a cause, so they'd like to get involved, but they're not sure, am I what they're looking for, or how do I do that? So I
think our approach is actually a little bit like it is with our families, and that we can be quite bespoke. We'd love to find out what people can offer, what their skills are, what experience they have. Obviously, a lot of the volunteering in prior years has been around supporting events. Now there's a little bit less of that at the moment, but as and when we come out of the lockdown, we will be reinitiating all of that stuff again. So there's all of that. But the centre itself is a fantastic magnet, I suppose, for people to come and help around in the centre. We might have need a reception man, for example, or a help around the landscape, the gardening. The building itself is actually quite a big place, really. Needs maintenance and support. But there's other things around marketing, publicity, other types of leadership. I think there's really quite a big range of things that people can do, and I think we'd like to just get into a discussion with anyone who's interested and in doing anything and likes is inspired by the charity, by what we do, and can put their foot forward and we can see what we can work with.
Wonderful, that's great. Well, let's move back to you now, which I know you're a very humble person, and that's not what you want to highlight. But of course, you won the Outstanding Leadership Award, which was fantastic. So congratulations.
Very much.
And it was very much for all the work and commitment you've put into the Joshua Tree on a voluntary basis, taking on, starting off in one role and then, leading the charity through all the changes that you've just talked about. How did you feel when you won the award?
Oh, it was fantastic. I think, as I said before, what was lovely is that it was I was nominated by the team, so that means a lot, because again, it was a role that sort of evolved, really. I mean, I didn't come into the Joshua Tree to be the CEO. It was something that happened. But we didn't just quite happen, but I mean, I did evolve into it. I started as a trustee, took on a few of the projects, and then started talking to Lynn, who was just beginning to talk about possibly stepping down at the time, having done the role of CEO since she founded the charity in 2006. But it became very clear that actually what was necessary first was to just give her a bit of a break. So I initially stepped in on a temporary basis to give her a sabbatical. Right. So it's going to be a 10 to 12 week thing. Lynn was finishing a master's degree as well, so she's very keen on doing that. She's not a fully trained counsellor. She really wants to start dedicating time towards that, and so that evolved out of a sort of temporary thing into a slightly less temporary thing, and then 2 years later, I'm still here, and so yes, it's been a fantastic experience and really great to just wonderful to have had an opportunity to be part of such a fantastic team.
Oh, that's good. That's good. And clearly they you know, one of the things was obviously your leadership, how strong it is. So they obviously see that in you and wanted to acknowledge through nominating you. So congratulations.
Thank you very much.
So I won't keep you much longer. We just I think finish with what would you say to anybody that was perhaps thinking of nominating next year, or putting somebody forward, whether that be themselves, their charity, or they know of somebody that they think is worthy of a nomination for an award?
Well, if anyone's considering it, then they, something you should absolutely do. It's I think as Hoppy said on the night, all the people that we recognise are people that generally do this stuff for very little reward and recognition, and it's just lovely to have, when there is an opportunity to have an event like this, or to have any kind of thing where all these amazing volunteers are recognised, then it's a wonderful event and a wonderful thing to be able to be part of. So I would heartily recommend people to go ahead and nominate anyone that they feel would be worthy of that sort of recognition. It's a great thing to be part of.
Oh, that's great. Well, thank you, Piers. Thank you very much for a wonderful catch up and chat after the awards evening. Perhaps next year we will be face to face and live, but we might have to keep everything crossed for that. But it's been really wonderful speaking to you, and we will, as I mentioned before, we will put a link on the interview with a link to the Joshua Tree, and perhaps even a link to where the volunteers are, if anybody's interested in volunteering, or of course supporting your charity.
Yeah, that'd be wonderful. Thank you, Sam.
Thank you.